Hey Cardfighters, Chris here from Vanguard Central bringing you our Deletor deck. This deck has gotten a lot of requests, so I hope you guys like it. And just to preface it a little bit, the main focus of the deck is just constant deleting on your opponent. So we don't really focus much on the strides. And Igor is going to help us with that. Our starting Vanguard, letting us unflip and draw one when we delete, is going to help not only counterblast, but help us give the cards in hand to continue deleting for the consecutive turns that this deck is very good at. So just starting with the strides real quick, just because we don't really use them, we'll just get them out of the way. We have 2 Judgment Messiah. The good first stride gets that on-hit pressure, kind of scares your opponent, and as well as giving a little bit of control. This deck has basically no options to lock your opponent, so if you're really feeling the pressure, you might want to stride and get some locks off. On that same line, 2 Big Crunch Dragon gives that little bit of control, can help you against some of the decks that may be overrunning you a little bit. We have 1 Atmos. It's also a good first stride if you want to try to push your opponent to higher damage with your stride, so that you can follow up with a delete play next turn, or delete play with Igor. That can be very good. Or obviously go to Judgment Messiah, bait out the perfect guard so they can't block your delete turn. Speaking of Igor, we have 2 Igors. Slowly going to accumulate more, but 2 is definitely fine since we do not stride that much in this deck, as I mentioned before. But very powerful, easily the cheapest delete in the deck. So that's very good. If you only have 1 counterblast, you could always go into Igor and still get that delete off. And then lastly, we have the 1 Amnesty, just in case you play against another Link Joker deck. I hesitate to call it a mirror match because deleters are so different than Link Joker normally is. Not really much of a mirror match there, but Amnesty Messiah is very good. The deck needs its rear guards to hit hard, so if you get locked down, you're going to need the Amnesty Messiah to, counter-attack. Alright, let's start with the grade 3s. We have 4 Grayons. Dat Espido. Luckily enough to pull that if you saw the Vanguard and Deletor, I think, sneak peek pulls. This card is, in my opinion, the main boss of the deck. Counterblast 2 to delete is very easy to do in this deck, especially when you consider Igor is going to unflip 1. It makes that consecutive delete super easy. Vanish deleting is also, it's like a nice side bonus. It can help you, slow down those Legion decks, or, get rid of their perfect guards if they have to. But then not really the main focus. I don't think I've ever gotten to the point where I even got close to trying to use Igor's instant win condition. So mainly for that constant deleting, that can actually delete your opponent at grade 2. And speaking of deleting your opponent at grade 2, no one does it better than Oxes. Hefty counterblast 3 cost to delete, but he's going to get a plus 10k, making him super hard to guard. And he also forces your opponent to discard if they even want a normal ride. So again, if they're at grade 2, they try to play that grade 2 game with you, and you're like, ha, no, Oxes, I'm going to delete you anyway. And then if you want to go to grade 3, you're going to have to discard a card. Really puts some pressure on their resources, and one less card that they have is one less card that they're going to be able to use to block your attacks. So I really like this Grayon Oxes lineup for the speed that it gives. Doesn't matter what grade your opponent is at, you're going to be able to delete them and apply a lot of pressure. For the grade 2s, we have 4 12k attackers. This is super good because it doesn't need to be boosted, and it's going to be a 15k guard on your opponent's turn. Provided they're deleted, right? So not only can you get that early aggression in, but you can also hit really high numbers without needing the boosters too much when they're deleted. And there's a lot of low power boosters in the deck, so having the 12k is really going to help fix it if for some reason you don't delete them. And then we have the first of the new deleter pair. This is hailing Deletor Alba.
Just Alba.
Yes. So when you call Alba, you're going to be able to call up the buddy Elro, which we'll get to in a bit. And if you have Alba on the right and Elro on the left, they're both going to get +3. So she's going to be 11, he's going to be the 12. And your opponent gets to call a card off the top of their deck. And that's like kind of bad for you because they get a free card, but it works out because of Elro's, sorry, mixing their names together. Elro's skill is going to let you unflip whenever your opponent calls a card. Superior calls a card, right? And Alba's effect is going to count for that. So let's see, let's just do that so we can talk about them a bit more. So that's very good. Again, unflips help you constantly delete your opponent. So we have the 3 Alba, 4 Elro, because that way every time you're going to have Alba, you're basically guaranteed to have an Elro in your deck. And that's going to be really nice for just consistency purposes. But again, the +3 to H, 11k, and 12k makes those good numbers regardless of whether your opponent is deleted or not, because of the weaker boosters, as I mentioned. But very good. It's good to note too that this card just nets you so many unflips against decks like Shadow Paladin or Royal Paladin. They're going to be superior calling their cards. That gets you unflips as well. So the never-ending deleter onslaught. If you notice, everything is hitting for like 11k and above for the grade 2s. That's super important, just so we don't need boosters if we really want to, you know, apply pressure. And I really like that about the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 1s, we are starting off with 2 8Ks. You know, there's a lot of good deleter cards with effects, but I decided 8Ks super good because when you combine it with the 12k hitter, so either Elro if you have those two, or just the 12k hitter itself, that's going to hit 20. And 20 on a deleted Vanguard, which has 0 power, is just super brutal. Really, really hard to guard. It's like 25k shield. And then if you get a trigger, it's like 30k shield. That's basically perfect guard material right there. Very good to have that as a 2 of just in case you need it. And sometimes it'll work as that defensive ride. So very good card. 4 Soul Blast 2 draw. This might seem crazy, just because it's a little like, you know, we're going a little ham on the Soul Blast 2 draws, but I find that you can make the soul big enough if you use make use of some of the other cards in the deck. And the Soul Blast 2 draw is super nice. Right when you hit 3, you call that Soul Blast 2 draw and then kill it to get the delete off. I feel like it really like sets the tempo and puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, because you don't really need to drop too many cards to get that deletes going. We have 4 Drowns. This card's really good when it's boosting your deleter Vanguard. You can just drop and then draw 2 after you put it into the soul. So it gives you a lot of card filtering. Cards that you don't need, like maybe you drew into an Elro but you don't have Albas, then, and anyway, if you have the Alba, you're gonna want to superior call Elro anyway. So basically, Elro being a dead card, if you draw it, you can just get rid of those with Drown, get into more useful cards. If you have too many grade 3s, you can, you know, ditch them, get some more useful cards. I say that because, again, main focus is just to keep redeleting your opponent. Speaking of redeleting, we are using the redeleting perfect guards. Chose to use these because guarding your rear guards is not too much of an issue. Redeleting is very, very good, but I don't expect it to ever happen. And you might be wondering, well, if you don't ever expect the redelete to happen, why are you running these? And that's because of the deleter name. I tried running the normal unflipping perfect guards, but just every time you get it in the damage zone, it's basically 1 unusable damage, given that Oxes and Greyon, which are only really the things that are counterblasting in the deck, need deleter counterblast. So it really cut me off of any rush plays. My first damage was the non-deleter perfect guard. So I decided it's best to just go with the deleter perfect guards, get that name, and we can, you know, cover the unflipping with some of the other cards in the deck, like Elro and, you know, the new crit trigger and things like that. So lastly, for the triggers, we have 4. The new deleter crit helps with that unflipping. Again, constant deletes on your opponent is going to wear them down and kill them, hopefully, before they can do much back to you. We have 8 crits there. We have a 4 stand. 4 stand, oh, the stand is amazing. Basically, you just call it and you draw a card when your opponent's Vanguard is deleted. So it's going to keep your hand, your hand levels high while you're able to field boosters to punish your opponent who's at your deleted opponent, right? And the 4K power doesn't matter because all the grade 2s hit 11K and above, so that's at least 15 on the opponent's 0. Very, very good. And lastly, we have the 4 heals. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked our Deletor deck profile. Let us know what you think about the deck below. Do you like the style of constant deleting every single turn, or would you think it's more fun to go for the stride plays with Igorg? Again, let us know down in the comments. Give us a thumbs up. Like helps out a ton. And as always, subscribe for more content. Vanguard Central, out.